There comes a moment when you feel it, not with your eyes, but with your spirit. Something invisible is rearranging itself in your favor. The pieces that once felt scattered begin to fit together. The waiting, the silence, the unanswered prayers, they start to make sense. The shift is real, and everything, finally, is working for your good. You've walked through seasons that felt like endings, but they were preparations. You faced doors that refused to open, not realizing they were never meant for the version of you who stood there waiting. The shift is not the world changing, it's you changing. It's your consciousness being renewed, your perception awakening to divine order. Life has never been against you, only reflecting your inner conversation. The moment your inner dialogue turns from fear to faith, from lack to gratitude, reality bends to meet your belief. What you assume is true begins to clothe itself in facts. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And when you begin to feel that everything is working out, even before it does, that feeling becomes law. The universe rearranges itself to honor your inner certainty. This is the unseen shift, the one that cannot be measured, but can be felt. Delay is not denial. The divine operates on timing, not time. What you think is stillness is sacred preparation. Life is not punishing you, it's positioning you. It's sculpting your faith until you are strong enough to hold what you once only dreamed of. So when things seem still, when progress seems slow, remember, alignment always precedes acceleration. You are not being tested, you are being trusted. Every challenge is an invitation to rise in consciousness, to anchor your awareness in truth rather than appearances. The moment you stop asking when and start declaring now, the current shifts. You step into a higher vibration where miracles are natural, not rare. Everything begins to work, not because the world changed, but because you did. The shift is real. You are not waiting for favor, you are walking in it. You are not chasing alignment, you are living it. Every delay, every detour, every heartbreak was recalibration for something greater. Trust the unfolding. The good you've imagined has already begun to take shape. You are standing in the doorway of answered prayers, and the universe is saying, "Welcome home." Everything is finally working for your good. Your outer world is not an independent force acting upon you. It is a mirror reflecting what you continually entertain within. Every experience, every encounter, every event in your life is a manifestation of your inner state of consciousness. What you hold as true within yourself becomes the pattern that the outer world must express. The world is not happening to you, it is responding through you. When your inner narrative is one of fear, lack, or limitation, life must present situations that confirm those beliefs. You will see evidence of struggle, conflict, and delay because your inner assumptions give them permission to exist. But the moment you shift that inner dialogue, when you begin to affirm that life is working for you, that you are supported, that abundance flows easily, everything external begins to reorganize itself in harmony with that truth. The change is not forced, it unfolds naturally. Because creation always follows consciousness. Your mind is the soil and your thoughts are the seeds. Whatever you plant, consciously or unconsciously, grows into your visible reality. Most people look at their lives and try to fix the effects without changing the cause. They rearrange circumstances, seek new relationships, chase opportunities, and fight against conditions. But the outer world cannot truly change until the inner world is renewed. Real transformation begins the moment you decide to think differently, to feel differently, to believe differently about who you are and what is possible for you. If you believe you are unworthy, life will keep showing you mirrors that reflect that belief. Rejection, neglect, missed chances. But if you begin to hold a new idea of yourself, one rooted in power, peace, and divine worth, the mirror shifts. You will start to meet people who value you, opportunities that align with your purpose, and moments that affirm your inner growth. This is not coincidence. It is law. The outer must obey the inner, because the seen is born from the unseen. When you become conscious of your inner conversations, you reclaim your creative power. Every thought is a cause in motion. Every emotion is an energy that shapes experience. To live intentionally, you must become the master of your internal state, not controlled by appearances, but grounded in the unseen truth that you are the architect of your world. Do not wait for life to prove your worth before you believe it. Believe it now, and life will prove it. Do not wait for evidence of change to feel different. Feel different now, and the evidence will appear. The outer world is fluid, flexible, and responsive to your dominant vibration. The shift begins within you. The moment you align your thoughts with faith instead of fear, gratitude instead of complaint, and love instead of lack, your reality must transform. Life has no choice but to mirror the consciousness you choose to sustain. You are not a passive observer. You are the creator, shaping the world by the story you tell within. The shift you seek does not begin in the movement of outer events. It begins in the quiet awakening of your awareness. Life does not transform because situations improve, people change, or opportunities suddenly appear. True transformation happens the moment you awaken to the realization that you are not a victim of life, but the creator of it. Everything external is a reflection of your inner awareness, shaped by the assumptions, emotions, and beliefs you consistently hold. The moment you recognize this truth, your entire reality begins to shift. Not because circumstances change first, but because your perception of yourself does. Awareness is the birthplace of transformation. You can only change what you are conscious of. Most people move through life reacting to conditions, blaming others and feeling powerless to change what they experience. They repeat the same patterns, unaware that those patterns are being generated from within. But when you stop and observe your thoughts, when you begin to question what you have accepted as true, you reclaim the authority you once gave away. You begin to see that every event, even those that seem painful or confusing, is an echo of your inner state. Awareness breaks the cycle of unconscious living and restores your power to choose differently. In this case, this is the moment the shift begins, not when your situation improves, but when you wake up to your creative role in shaping it. You begin to realize that life responds to the energy you embody. When you live from fear, you experience more things to fear. When you live from faith, you encounter opportunities that confirm your belief in the good. The world bends to match your awareness because consciousness is the foundation of all creation. Circumstances are not causes, they are effects. They are the outpicturing of what you hold within. Trying to change life without changing your inner state is like rearranging the reflection in a mirror while ignoring the person standing before it. The reflection will always return to the image it mirrors. Once you shift within, once you accept yourself as the author rather than the victim, the reflection must follow. This awakening is not about control, it is about surrendering false powerlessness. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission to rise. You stop needing conditions to improve before you feel peace. Instead, you anchor yourself in the knowing that you are the source. You are the consciousness through which life flows and takes shape. When you live from this awareness, even challenges become sacred. You begin to see obstacles as invitations to deepen your understanding of who you are. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What within me is this revealing?" That single shift in awareness turns pain into wisdom, chaos into clarity, and delay into divine timing. The shift doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It begins the instant you awaken to your creative nature. From that awareness, life unfolds differently, not because the outer world has power, but because you finally remember that it never did. The real shift never starts with events around you. It starts the moment your awareness wakes up and you see life differently. Most people wait for something to change outside, a new job, a new person, more money, before they allow themselves to feel new inside. But the truth is that nothing outside can move until something inside moves first. The instant you become aware that you are not helpless, that you are not at the mercy of luck or timing, the axis of your life tilts. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. The furniture was always there, you just couldn't see where you were bumping into things. Once the light comes on, you stop stumbling. In the same way, when you become conscious of the thoughts and feelings you've been living from, you stop being ruled by them. You begin to choose them. You realize you are not the story of what happened to you. You are the consciousness that can rewrite that story. From that awareness, you start to notice how your state shapes experience. When you carry resentment, the world mirrors it back. When you carry gratitude, people and events reflect that too. Awareness doesn't change things instantly, but it gives you the power to stop feeding the old energy and start cultivating a new one. You stop reacting to appearances and start responding from inner clarity. The outer world is only an echo. Trying to fix it without shifting awareness is like trying to change a shadow without moving the object that casts it. Once you recognize that you are the source of what you see, the struggle eases. You don't have to fight conditions anymore. You simply shift the way you see yourself, and conditions will find a way to match it. This awakening isn't about controlling life. It's about remembering you already created. It's not about forcing outcomes. It's about choosing the inner state from which outcomes unfold naturally. When you live from that level of consciousness, even challenges lose their power to shake you. They become signals pointing you back to alignment, reminders to return to awareness instead of resistance. So don't wait for circumstances to prove that the shift has begun. Feel it now. Become aware now. The moment you awaken to your creative nature, the old cycle breaks. You are no longer reacting to life. Life is responding to you. That is where true transformation begins, in awareness, not in circumstances. Delay is one of life's greatest teachers, though it rarely feels that way in the moment. When you've prayed, believed, and acted in faith, yet nothing seems to move, the waiting can feel endless. But what appears as delay is not rejection, it is preparation. Every pause holds purpose. Every detour hides divine precision. There is an unseen intelligence arranging the details of your life with perfect accuracy, aligning people, places, and timing in ways your mind could never orchestrate. You are never being denied, you are being refined. The space between desire and manifestation is sacred. It's where you are stretched, strengthened, and shaped into the version of yourself that can hold the blessing without losing balance. Sometimes what you ask for is already prepared, but you are not yet prepared for it. So life slows the pace, not to frustrate you, but to fortify you. It is mercy disguised as delay. Think of a seed planted in the ground. You do not dig it up each day to check its progress. You trust the unseen process happening beneath the soil. Roots are forming long before you see the sprout. In the same way, when it feels like nothing is happening, everything is happening. The divine is working in the invisible, strengthening your faith, refining your focus, teaching you patience, and clearing what no longer serves your destiny. Delay is the quiet workshop where your readiness is forged. The truth is, timing is not measured by your clock, but by your growth. The universe doesn't rush because it is never late. What you perceive as stillness is often alignment taking place behind the scenes. People are being positioned, opportunities are being prepared, circumstances are being shifted so that when the moment arrives, everything flows effortlessly. If the door opened too soon, the blessing might overwhelm you or fall apart. Cup in beyond the low, but when it opens in divine timing, it unfolds with grace. Trust that every not yet is a sacred protection. Sometimes the waiting reveals what you truly desire. It tests whether your faith is anchored in results or rooted in belief. Waiting purifies your intentions. It strips away impatience, control, and fear until only faith remains. And faith is the magnet for fulfillment. And faith is the magnet for fulfillment. When you surrender to divine timing, you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with purpose. You understand that the universe doesn't delay to punish, but to perfect. You stop asking, why is it taking so long? And start declaring, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. That shift in perspective transforms waiting from torment into trust. Delay is not denial, it is divine choreography. The moment you align with that truth, peace replaces frustration. You no longer chase what's yours, you attract it in due season. When the time is right, nothing can stop it. The doors will open naturally, the right people will appear, and what once felt distant will stand before you as proof that divine timing was never a delay at all. It was destiny, patiently waiting for you to be ready. Miracles are not accidents. They are responses to the state of being you sustain. Life is vibrational, and everything that comes to you is drawn by resonance. The energy you dwell in, whether fear or faith, doubt or trust, lack or abundance, sends a signal that the universe faithfully answers. When you live in gratitude, peace, and certainty, you become a magnet for divine orchestration. The unseen begins to work for you because your energy declares that you are ready to receive. Every thought, every emotion, and every assumption carries a frequency. You cannot hold thoughts of lack and expect to experience abundance. You cannot dwell in worry and attract peace. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. Your state of being speaks louder than your words. It tells the unseen realm what you believe about yourself and about life. When you dwell in gratitude, you affirm that you already have enough, and that awareness opens the door for more. Gratitude multiplies whatever it touches. When you live in peace, you send out a vibration of trust, a signal that says, I am not afraid of delay, I know everything is unfolding in my favor. When you walk in certainty, not arrogance but divine confidence, you align yourself with the creative power that turns unseen potential into visible reality. That is the magnetic state where miracles happen naturally. Your inner world is like a tuning fork. The moment you shift its vibration, everything around you begins to tune itself to match. You don't have to chase what's yours. It is drawn to you by energetic agreement. The key is not to control the outer, but to master the inner. To choose peace over panic, gratitude over grievance, faith over fear. When your state is elevated, you no longer seek miracles. You become one. Miracles are not random interruptions of natural law, they are the fulfillment of it. They occur when your energy aligns with the truth of who you are, a divine being, whole, abundant, and powerful. The more you dwell in that awareness, the more effortlessly life responds. The people, ideas, and opportunities you need begin to appear because your vibration calls them forth. Even in moments of uncertainty, your state of being determines whether you delay or accelerate what you desire. When you react with worry, you resist the flow of grace. When you respond with faith, you allow that grace to move freely. This is why inner alignment matters more than outer action. You can do all the right things physically, but if your energy carries doubt, the result remains distant. To become a magnet of miracles, nurture your inner atmosphere. Begin each day in gratitude. Center yourself in peace. Speak words of faith. Feel the reality of what you desire as if it already exists. The moment your state of being harmonizes with your vision, the unseen responds instantly. Life rushes to meet you at the frequency of your belief, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Life has a mysterious way of guiding you, even when it appears to be pulling everything apart. What feels like loss, disappointment, or rejection often hides a deeper blessing that only time can reveal. The truth is, everything is working for you, even when it seems against you. The universe never contradicts faith, it fulfills it. When you believe that life is happening through you and for you rather than to you, every challenge becomes a messenger of divine order, not chaos. There are moments when doors close abruptly, relationships fade, or plans collapse without warning. In those moments, it's easy to assume you've failed or been forgotten. But what if the rejection was protection? What if the ending was preparation for something you could not yet see? The unseen intelligence that governs the universe never wastes a moment of your experience. Every detour, delay, and disruption is a reordering toward your true path. You are being moved, not misplaced. When things don't go your way, it is not life working against you, it is life redirecting you towards something that aligns more deeply with who you are becoming. Sometimes the only way to move forward is through the very experiences that force you to release control and trust a higher plan. Pain, loss, and uncertainty often strip away illusions, revealing your inner strength and faith. What once looked like chaos begins to make sense when you view it from the lens of divine orchestration. You are never being punished, you are being positioned. Every setback carries within it the seed of transformation. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the opportunity that didn't unfold, each of these moments is part of a greater design that only unfolds fully in hindsight. The universe sees beyond what you can perceive. It knows when a path will lead you astray, or when a dream, if given too early, might overwhelm you. Faith is not believing when everything looks right. It's trusting when everything looks wrong. The universe listens not to your complaints, but to your conviction. When your faith remains steady in the midst of uncertainty, life bends to honor it. The very things that once felt like obstacles become stepping stones. What seemed like loss transforms into gain, and what once felt like rejection reveals itself as redirection. The key is to hold your peace in the midst of the storm, to remember that every season serves a purpose, even the painful ones. The hand that closes one door is the same hand preparing to open another. The more you trust that everything is working for you, the more gracefully you move through life. You stop resisting what happens and begin aligning with what's unfolding. So when life appears to turn against you, whisper to yourself, "Even this is working for my good," because it is. Beneath the surface of confusion, divine intelligence is arranging everything perfectly. And in time you look back and realize nothing was ever lost, only redirected towards something greater than you imagined. Everything that is happening in your life right now, the waiting, the change, the uncertainty, the breakthrough, it's all part of a divine orchestration moving you closer to who you truly are. The shift is not something coming, it's something already unfolding within you. As your awareness expands, your world responds. As your faith deepens, life rearranges itself to match it. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, you are the author of them. The universe is not against you, it is for you, guiding, aligning, and positioning everything perfectly in divine timing. The shift is real. It began the moment you chose to believe in something greater than fear, greater than delay, greater than doubt. You are stepping into a new season where everything is finally working for your good, not because the world changed, but because you did. So stand firm in faith, walk in gratitude, and live in the knowing that what is meant for you can never be lost. The unseen is already working, and the evidence will soon follow. Thank you, note. Thank you for listening, for believing, and for allowing these words to remind you of your power, your purpose, and your divine connection. May this message awaken in you a deeper faith, a calmer heart, and the courage to trust the timing of your own becoming. Remember, the shift is not coming. It has already begun. Everything is working for your good. Thank you, and may you walk in peace, alignment, and unshakable trust. There is a stillness, a sacred knowing that waits patiently behind your thoughts. It does not strive, it does not argue, and it does not beg. It simply is. This presence, this quiet power, is what you call God, and to put everything in God's hand is to finally understand that what you have been seeking through effort is already held in completion by grace. To put everything in God's hand is not to abandon your dreams, but to place them in the most capable care. It is to say, I no longer carry this burden. I no longer chase what is mine. I simply dwell in the end, in the fulfilled state, and trust the unseen hand that governs all things. You must realize your imagination is sacred. It is not mere fantasy. It is the language through which God speaks. The moment you imagine a desire fulfilled and feel its truth as though it were now. That is the moment you've handed it over to the Creator within. You do not need to know how it will come. You do not need to force doors open. The oak tree does not beg the sun to rise. It simply trusts its growth is assured. In the same way, your job is to plant the seed in your imagination and let God water it with divine timing. Let go of worry. Let go of effort that stems from fear. Trust that the hand which shaped the stars also shapes your destiny. When you feel fear, remind yourself, this is not mine to figure out. This is God's to finish. And in that surrender, you gain everything. Do not mistake passivity for powerlessness. To rest in faith is the greatest act of courage. The world may urge you to hustle, to chase, to prove. But the soul whispers, be still and know. Put your dreams, your needs, your relationships, your finances, all of it in God's hand. Not with desperation, but with confidence. Walk as though it is done, speak as though it is yours, and feel as though you already have it. Because once you put it in God's hand, it is. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving over to the higher power within. And that distinction changes everything. Most people hear the word surrender and immediately associate it with weakness, with quitting, or with admitting defeat. But true surrender is the most courageous act a person can perform. It is not about walking away from your desire. It is about walking deeper into faith. It is about knowing, beyond reason and evidence, that the power that breathed life into you did not do so to abandon you. When you surrender, you are not discarding your dream. You are not denying your hope. You are not turning your back on your future. You are placing it gently, trustingly, into the hands of the infinite intelligence that already knows the way. It is the difference between rowing upstream with all your might, exhausted and disheartened, versus laying down the oar and allowing the current to take you where you were meant to go. This higher power within you does not require your struggle to bring forth what you desire. It requires your permission. It requires your trust. The mind, trained by the world, believes it must force everything into being. It believes it must manipulate, control, calculate, and constantly do to achieve anything worthwhile. But the soul knows. The soul understands that all things are already finished, that every possibility already exists, that the path to your highest joy is not something you build with effort, but something you uncover through faith. To surrender is to recognize that your personal will is limited, but divine will is boundless. And when you align with that divine will, not by pleading, but by assuming, it works on your behalf. You stop fighting life and start flowing with it. You stop doubting the outcome and start dwelling in the end result. The very act of letting go allows the unseen forces of life to begin their silent orchestration. Imagine for a moment holding tightly onto something in your hand. Your grip is clenched. Your knuckles are white. Your whole body is tense. That is how many live, with clenched hearts and anxious thoughts, afraid that if they loosen their grip even for a moment, everything will fall apart. But here is the truth. Life flows when you open your hand. When you stop trying to make it happen and instead trust that it is happening right now in the invisible because you dare to believe. When you surrender, you shift from fear to faith, from lack to fulfillment, from striving to resting. Not because you have no power, but because you finally recognize where your true power comes from. It was never from control. It was always from connection. When you are connected to the source of all life, there is nothing to fear. What is for you cannot miss you. What is yours spiritually must reveal itself physically, once you surrender the need to chase it. Surrender is a sacred invitation. It says to the universe, I trust you. I know you have heard me. I know my desire was planted not to torment me, but to be fulfilled through me. I do not need to worry. I do not need to fix. I do not need to beg. I only need to remain in the state of having and let the divine hand take care of the details. This is not passivity, it is spiritual mastery. The strongest soul is the one who knows when to act and when to release, who knows when to speak and when to rest in silence, and above all, who knows that surrender is not the end of a journey, it is the beginning of miracles. Imagination is the bridge between your desire and its fulfillment. Entrust it to the divine. Within you lies a sacred power that most ignore, dismiss, or misunderstand. This power is not physical. It does not reside in your hands or in your voice. It resides in your inner world, your imagination. And yet, this invisible faculty shapes the very reality you walk through. It is not fantasy. It is not make-believe. It is creation in its purest form. Everything you see in the world, every structure, invention, work of art, every achievement was once a seed planted in someone's imagination. That's how powerful it is. It is the first cause, the original source, the blueprint from which the material world is built. And when you understand that your imagination is a sacred bridge, not merely a playground of the mind, everything changes. Desire alone is not enough. Wanting something is not enough. It is only when you dare to see it, to feel it, to inhabit it in your imagination as though it were real, that you begin the true process of manifestation. The mistake most make is believing they must do everything with physical effort. They ignore the inner world and trust only what they can see with their eyes and touch with their hands. But the eyes and hands are instruments. They are not the source. The source is invisible. The origin is unseen. And imagination is how you reach it. When you imagine something clearly and feel it deeply, you impress it upon the divine mind within. You hand it over, not with doubt, not with questions, but with the quiet confidence of one who knows it is already done. You must understand, you were never meant to figure everything out with logic. The rational mind is limited. It operates only by past experiences and current senses. But imagination is limitless. It exists outside of time. It can take you to the end result before one single thing changes in your world. And when you dwell in the end, in the fulfilled state, you bring the future into the now. This is not illusion, it is creation. To see yourself as already healthy, already loved, already successful, already free, is to walk the bridge before the path appears under your feet. And you do not walk alone. Once you entrust this vision to the divine, meaning once you accept it as true within, you activate unseen forces. Doors open, people shift, events move, not because you pushed, but because you believe. Most people abandon the power of imagination too soon. They start to picture the life they want, but then quickly return to worrying, doubting, fearing. They allow the evidence of the senses to erase the truth they briefly held within. But to imagine is to plant a seed, and once it is planted, it must be watered, not with doubt, but with trust. You water it by revisiting it, by feeling it, by thanking the divine for it before. You must understand how sacred your inner world is. Every thought, every image, every scene you accept as true becomes part of your spiritual signature. And what you persist in imagining, you eventually experience. This is not hope. It is law. The law of consciousness. The law of becoming. So the invitation is this. Close your eyes. Enter that silent space within. Picture the life you want, not as something distant, but as something already real. Walk in it, feel it, touch it, speak from it. And when you rise, do not worry about how it will come. That part is not yours. Your role is to imagine and deliver. Imagination is not a tool of escape. It is the gateway of transformation. It is the bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. Entrust it to the divine and watch your life unfold in ways that logic could never explain. Your true self is not separate from God. You're the vessel through which God operates. This is not just a comforting idea. It is the eternal truth of your being. You were not created to live apart from the divine, struggling on your own, praying to a distant power that may or may not hear you. You were created as an extension of that power. The life of God breathes through you, thinks through you, speaks through you. You are not merely human trying to reach God. You are God awareness, clothed in human form. This truth does not elevate the ego, it dissolves it. It silences the noise of striving and reminds you that all you seek is already within you. You are not empty, searching for fullness. You are already full, simply waking up to what has always been true. The moment you grasp this, everything in your life begins to change. Not because your outer world shifts first, but because your perception does. To believe you are separate from God is the root of all fear. It is the birthplace of anxiety, desperation, and lack. It is what causes people to plead, to beg, to chase after peace that seems just out of reach. But when you know that God is not somewhere far away but closer than your breath, you stop seeking. You start expressing. You stop begging for answers and start trusting that the answers move through you. You are not meant to live life hoping that something good might happen. You are meant to realize that the very source of goodness lives in you. Every time you imagine with faith, speak with conviction, or feel something as already real, it is not you acting alone. It is God acting as you. You are the channel, the vessel, the doorway through which the infinite enters the finite world. But to be that vessel, you must clear the noise. You must strip away the layers of doubt and limitation that the world has placed upon you. The world will try to tell you that you are small, broken, and lacking. But the truth is, you are divine substance. You are awareness itself. You are not separate from the Creator. You are its expression. Look at the seed and the tree. The seed is small, quiet, unnoticed, but within it is the potential of something vast and powerful. You too hold within you the seed of all that God is: love, abundance, healing, wisdom, peace. They are not things you need to go find. They are things you need to remember. And the way you remember is by turning inward. Stop waiting for signs. You are the sign. Stop waiting for permission. You are the authority. When you choose to think in alignment with love instead of fear, you become the mirror of God. When you choose to imagine the best, speak with grace, and walk with faith, you become the expression of God in form. This is not arrogance. It is humility at the highest level. To surrender the illusion of separateness and allow your life to be used by something greater. When you say, I and the Father are one, You are not claiming superiority. You are returning to truth. You are affirming that you no longer operate from the mind of the world, but from the mind of spirit. Every day becomes holy. Every thought becomes sacred. Every moment becomes a chance to let God move through you, not by force, but by allowing. Let yourself be the vessel. Let yourself be the expression. Let go of the old story that says you're alone and step into the story that's always been written. You and God are not two. There is only one. And that one is living its life in and through you. What you feel is real in the unseen you place gently in the hands of the eternal. This is the sacred art of creation. Not by force, not by struggle, but by inner conviction and quiet surrender. The world will tell you that what is unseen is uncertain, that what you cannot prove with your senses is not real, but the truth is exactly the opposite. What you feel deeply in the stillness of your being, in the silence of your imagination, is more powerful than anything you can grasp with your hands. You do not manifest by hoping. You do not create by begging. You do so by feeling, deeply and truly, as if the unseen were already here. The moment you dare to feel something is real before your eyes can confirm it, you have touched the realm of the eternal. This is not fantasy. It is faith. Faith is not merely believing something might happen one day. Faith is the knowing that what you have felt, what you have accepted as true within, is already yours. And once you feel it, once you experience the fullness of that unseen reality within, you don't chase it. You don't question it. You don't fight for it. You release it. You place it gently, confidently, into the hands of the eternal presence within you, and you rest. You allow it to unfold in its perfect time and way. You no longer carry the weight of how or when, because those are not your responsibilities. Your only task is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to walk in that inner assurance until the outer world aligns with what you already know to be true. There is something sacred about feeling without seeing. It is the highest form of trust. It says to the infinite, I believe you, I know you, I feel you, and that is enough. When you move through life in this way, your heart is no longer troubled by appearances. The world may offer delay, but you no longer call it denial. You know that once a thing is accepted within, it begins to take shape without. Everything in the material world is downstream. What you see, hear, and touch is the echo, not the origin. The origin is always within. And when you claim something as yours in the unseen, when you dwell in the state of already having, you shift your identity. You begin to live from that higher state of consciousness. And the eternal responds, not because it was ever withholding from you, but because you finally became aligned with what you were asking for. Imagine a child giving their parent a drawing, something precious to them. They hand it over, not with fear, but with complete trust that the parent will receive it, keep it safe, honor its value. In the same way, when you place your desire into the hands of the eternal, you are not abandoning it, you are entrusting it. You are saying, I have done my part, now I let the higher intelligence do what only it can do. And this trust, this surrender, is not weakness, it is the highest strength. It is knowing who you are and what you are connected to. It is no longer needing outer proof to feel inner peace. It is allowing the rhythm of divine timing to take over. So do not rush. Do not panic. Do not keep digging up your seed to see if it has sprouted. Feel it has done. Be still. Let the unseen do its perfect work. What you have planted in faith, you will harvest in joy. What you have felt is real, you have handed to the eternal. And the eternal never forgets, never delays, and never fails. Anxiety is a signal that you are trying to do with force what must be done in faith. It is the unease that arises when the mind assumes control over what the spirit was always meant to carry. When you feel anxious, it is not simply a reaction to circumstances. It is a deep inner alarm, reminding you that you have stepped out of alignment. You have begun to lean on effort, on logic, on human limitation, instead of resting in the infinite ease of divine order. Force is rooted in fear. It believes that if you don't act fast enough, hard enough, something will fall apart. It clings, it grabs, it demands. Faith, on the other hand, is rooted in knowing. It moves from a calm inner assurance that what is for you cannot miss you. It does not rush, it does not panic. It trusts the unseen more than it fears the visible. Anxiety cannot exist in the presence of that kind of faith. So when anxiety comes, pause. Do not fight it, but listen. It is trying to tell you something sacred. It is revealing to you the very place where you have stopped trusting. It's pointing to the area in your life where you've taken the burden from the divine and placed it on your own shoulders. You are not meant to carry the how, the when, or the details of unfolding. Your task is to imagine, to feel, to believe, and then to release. To try to force an outcome is to forget who you are. You are not a creature desperate to survive. You are the consciousness that shapes worlds. You were never meant to operate by fear-based reaction. You are designed to move in quiet, deliberate faith. You are meant to live as one who knows that every desire comes with its own path to fulfillment. You do not have to create the path. You only need to align with a state of being that matches what you've asked for. Imagine a person trying to open a flower by prying it apart with their hands. In their desperation to see it bloom, they ruin its beauty. But the flower opens on its own, in the warmth of light, with no force, no worry. So it is with your desires. They do not need your panic, they need your presence. They need you to be still long enough to allow what you've planted in spirit to blossom in time. The mind will scream that nothing is happening. The ego will say you must do more, push harder, prove your worth. But faith whispers, be still. It is already done. And if you can trust that whisper more than the world's noise, you will walk in peace, even before the evidence arrives. Understand this. Your anxiety does not mean you are weak. It means you care. It means you long for something so deeply that your soul aches in the waiting. But care does not require control. Love does not require grasping. You can hold the vision, feel the joy, imagine the best, and then step back and let the divine orchestrate it. If the bird never worries about its next flight, if the stars do not stress about shining, why must you? Are you not more than they? You are connected to the source of all that is good, all that is possible, and that source does not operate in panic. It operates in peace. So breathe. Loosen your grip. Stop trying to force what must be received. Let anxiety remind you not that you are off track, but that it is time to return to the truth, to trust again, to feel again, to walk by faith, not sight. What you desire is already yours in the unseen. And when you rest in that knowing, you no longer chase, it comes to you. When you release control, the power that created the universe takes over your affairs. This is not poetic metaphor, it is spiritual law. The same intelligence that causes the stars to burn, the planets to orbit, the tides to rise and fall, is not separate from you. It lives in you, breathes through you, and waits for your surrender. But it does not force its way in. It waits until you loosen your grip, until you stop trying to manipulate the outer and allow the inner to lead. Control is the illusion that you must hold everything together. It's the lie whispered by fear, convincing you that if you don't push, strive, and overthink, life will fall apart. But look at nature. Does the tree force itself to grow? Does the moon wrestle to reflect the sun? All things flourish when they are aligned, not when they are controlled. You are not created to live in resistance. You are made to live in harmony with divine order. The truth is, the tighter you hold, the more things slip through your fingers. The more you obsess over how and when, the further you move from the natural flow of manifestation. It's not because the universe is withholding. It's because your grip has become a barrier. Surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the sacred act of turning your burdens over to something far greater than your limited understanding. You may think letting go means doing nothing, but that is not true. Letting go means doing the inner work, feeling the reality of your desire, aligning with its vibration, trusting that the unseen is working in your favor. It means stepping into the day with calm confidence, acting when inspired, and resting when prompted. It is living in the rhythm of grace instead of the chaos of control. When you surrender, you stop asking life to prove itself to you and begin responding as if what you desire is already done. You change your posture from one of worry to one of expectation. You stop trying to convince the world and start living as though the answer is already on its way. Because it is. The moment you imagined it, it was created in the unseen. Your surrender is what allows it to unfold into form. The universe does not need your stress. It doesn't respond to panic. It responds to peace. It aligns with the one who trusts. When you let go, when you release control, you say to the divine, I know you've got this. And in that sacred trust, you create space. Space for miracles, space for better timing, space for outcomes more beautiful than your limited plans could ever conceive. This is the paradox. The more you try to force life, the more it resists. The moment you stop forcing, it begins to move. Just like water, the flow of life moves best when unblocked. And what blocks it? Fear, doubt, control. But what opens it wide? Faith, joy, ease. You do not have to figure it all out. You are not the architect of every detail. You are the dreamer, the feeler, the vessel. Your job is to feel it real, to move as though it is done, and to trust the rest to the infinite. And once you do that, once you truly surrender, doors open, people appear, circumstances align. You are no longer operating on your own strength. You are carried by a force that never tires, never sleeps, and never forgets what you asked for. So release control, not because you've given up, but because you finally remembered who is really in charge. You are not alone. You never were. Let go, and let the one who designed galaxies take care of your next step. When you release control, the power that created the universe begins to move in ways that leave no doubt. It was never just you. When you finally place everything in God's hands, you do not lose power, you awaken to it. You stop forcing and you start flowing. You begin to understand that true strength is not found in control, but in surrender. That your imagination is not fantasy, but the sacred bridge between the unseen and the seen. That the anxiety you feel is not your enemy, but your reminder to return to faith. You realize you were never separate from the source. You were never meant to carry it all. You were meant to trust, to feel, and to receive. The moment you let go, divine power moves. It orchestrates, aligns, and delivers what no effort could ever accomplish. This is not passivity. It is partnership with the infinite. Read deeper. Hold your vision closer. And rest in the knowing that the same presence that designed the stars is now guiding your path. Thank you for listening. May you walk in peace, trust in the unseen, and remember always, you are never alone. Close your eyes to the world you see and open your eyes to the world you create. Tonight, as you lie in bed, you are standing at the gateway of transformation. You are not just resting your body. You are reprogramming your destiny. Because what you accept as true in your imagination becomes what you experience in your reality. Wealth is not outside of you. It never was. Money, luxury, success, they are not things you pursue. They are things you attract by the person you believe you are. Yet, before sleep, you assume the feeling of being wealthy. If you feel the joy of financial freedom, the ease of abundance, the satisfaction of your desires already fulfilled, you have planted the seed. And the seed must grow. You do not need to beg the world for riches. You are not here to chase. You are here to become. The world bends to the image you hold of yourself. So tonight, stop wishing for change and assume it has already happened. See yourself living in the home you desire. Feel the weight of wealth in your wallet, the freedom of time, the joy of being a blessing to others. Let your imagination create it in vivid detail. Smell the leather seats. Hear the keys jingle. Taste the food at your favorite restaurant. Laugh from the overflow of it all. Do not worry about how. The how is not yours to know. Your role is belief. Your role is assumption. Your role is embodiment. The bridge of incidents will appear as needed. But you must walk the world in the knowing that you already have what you once sought. Each night you enter the sacred silence, and in that silence, speak boldly. I am wealthy. I am abundant. I am prosperous. Not someday, now. Feel it so deeply that you smile in your sleep. Feel it until it becomes natural. Repetition makes it law. What you impress upon your subconscious tonight becomes what you wake up to tomorrow. So tonight, don't drift into sleep passively. Step into it consciously, with clarity, with purpose, with the awareness that you are the master of your inner world and that your outer world must follow. You are wealth. You are success. You are more than worthy. And as you sleep, your new world begins. The truth is simple, yet it escapes many. Your world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Everything you see, every experience you live through, is a mirror of your internal state of consciousness. The outer world is not a cause, it is an effect. It is not the initiator of your circumstances, but the reflection of what you persistently believe, assume, and feel within yourself. Consciousness is the only reality. All change, all manifestation, all transformation begins within. Most people live backwards. They react to the world around them, assuming it has power over their feelings, over their destiny. They believe that circumstances dictate their lives, that they are subject to forces outside their control. But this is illusion. The moment you understand that your inner world is the source and the outer world is the projection, you step into your true power. You are not here to fight the shadow. You are here to change the light within. Just as a mirror only reflects what stands before it, so too does your reality reflect what you hold deeply and repeatedly in mind. If you persist in believing you are unworthy, you will meet people and situations that confirm that unworthiness. If you assume you are constantly struggling, you will see evidence of that struggle around you. But if you dare to assume wealth, peace, and power, the world must mirror that belief. This is not about pretending or wishing, it is about embodying. When you change your consciousness, your deep-seated assumptions, the feelings you habitually live in, you change your life. You are not separate from the reality you experience. You are creating it every moment through the state you occupy. Everything begins in imagination. That which you see in the world first passed through the unseen chambers of thought and feeling. Someone imagined the home you live in. Someone imagined the clothes you wear. Everything that surrounds you was first a conception in the mind, then made visible. So too with your experiences, your relationships, your finances, your health. They are all the outpicturing of your inner convictions. To live wisely, you must become aware of the thoughts and feelings you dwell in most. What do you believe about money, about success, about love, about yourself? These beliefs are not hidden. They are revealed daily through the life you are living. If you do not like what you see, the answer is not to blame the mirror, but to look inward and change the image you are projecting. When you understand that consciousness is the only reality, you stop waiting. You stop hoping. You stop trying to manipulate the world outside. Instead, you go within. You enter the silence. You imagine the life you desire with intensity and feeling. You assume it is already yours. And then you rest in the knowing that it must come. Not by force, not by willpower, but by spiritual law. Do not ask whether it is working. Do not look for signs. You do not plant a seed and dig it up every day. You trust that the invisible work is already done. You maintain the assumption. You live from the end. And the world reshapes itself around your new identity. Your job is not to fix the world. Your job is to see rightly, to believe rightly, to assume rightly. The world is a mirror. You are the source. And when you change the inner film, the outer projection cannot remain the same. This is the secret. This is the power. You are not a victim of life. You are the author of it. Rewrite your assumptions, and you will rewrite your future. Wealth is not something you pursue, it is something you embody. It is not found in the frantic chase, the endless hustle, or the tireless effort to get more. True wealth begins as a state of being, a quiet and confident awareness that you are already abundant. It is not about what you possess materially, but what you assume to be true about yourself. When you understand this, you stop running toward money and begin attracting it through who you are. To live in abundance, you must first become abundant in thought and feeling. You must inhabit the version of yourself who already has, already owns, already experiences the richness of life. This is not fantasy. It is a conscious decision to dwell in the mindset of wealth, regardless of what your outer world currently shows. You are not faking it. You are creating it. And creation always begins in consciousness. When you assume the identity of a wealthy person, your actions begin to align effortlessly with that identity. You speak differently. You think from solutions instead of problems. You carry yourself with a calm confidence that says, I have more than enough. And that assumption, when held faithfully, begins to form patterns in your reality. You begin to see opportunities where before there were only closed doors. You attract people, ideas, and resources that match your inner state. Chasing money implies that it is running from you. It implies separation. That when you shift into the energy of already having, you dissolve that distance. You are no longer chasing, you are magnetizing. You are no longer needy, you are certain. This is the great secret of manifestation. It is not what you do that brings wealth, but who you are being while you do it. You could take the same action from a state of lack and get nothing. But take that same action from a state of abundance, and doors open effortlessly. Because the energy you move with is everything. The world is not responding to your words or your hustle. It is responding to your identity. And your identity is formed by what you consistently feel and believe about yourself. Wealth is a frequency, and your emotions are the tuning fork. When you feel grateful, relaxed, and secure, even without visible riches, you are in harmony with wealth. And when you feel anxious, desperate, or inferior, you are in dissonance with it. That is why it is not about the money itself. It is about the feeling you think the money will bring. So why wait? Feel it now. Live in it now. Embody it now. Destiny is built in your hands in these moments. If you feel it now, live in it now. Embody it now. Live in it now. Walk through life as someone who already knows they are blessed. Speak as someone who already understands their worth. Carry yourself as someone who expects goodness, opportunity, and overflow. This is the essence of wealth. It is not out there, it is within you. And as you persist in this identity, the outer world cannot help but catch up. Circumstances shift, money flows, ideas click, but it is not magic. It is alignment. You have become the one who no longer needs to prove, fight, or beg. You have become the one who simply is abundant. When you truly get this, you stop chasing forever. You no longer ask, when will it come? Instead, you say, it's already mine. You realize that wealth was never the goal. Being wealthy, peacefully, confidently, and naturally was the goal all along. Imagination is the silent architect of your life. It is not a tool reserved for artists or dreamers. It is the divine faculty through which all things are made. What you imagine, especially in the stillness of the night, sets the stage for what you will live tomorrow. The world you see, the events you call coincidence, the opportunities you stumble upon, they all begin within, quietly formed in the realm of thought and feeling. Most people do not understand the power of their imagination. They treat it as fantasy, something childish or irrelevant. But what they fail to see is that everything they have ever experienced began first as an unseen image. Your relationships, your financial status, your health, your daily encounters. All of these are shaped by what you have imagined about life and about yourself. When the noise of the world fades and your body prepares for rest, your imagination becomes most powerful. The conscious mind quiets down and the subconscious opens wide. In this moment, whatever you vividly and emotionally imagine sinks deeply into your being. It becomes a seed planted in fertile soil. And that seed will grow, not because of effort or willpower, but because it was impressed upon the inner mind. The subconscious does not argue. It does not reason. It accepts whatever you present to it with feeling and repetition. So when you imagine yourself wealthy, loved, successful, or healed, with feeling as though it is already true, you are giving the subconscious clear instructions. You are writing the script for the scenes that will play out in your waking life. This is why night is sacred. The moments just before sleep are golden. Whatever you think about, whatever image you hold, whatever emotion you dwell in, these go with you into the deep and begin to shape the patterns of your reality. The mind in this relaxed and impressionable state becomes a vessel. You must choose carefully what you pour into it. If you drift into sleep worrying, doubting, or replaying painful experiences, you are feeding your future with more of the same. But if you deliberately imagine your desires already fulfilled, if you picture your ideal life in full color and feel the joy of it, you are preparing a new reality. The mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only knows what you feel to be true. And once it accepts that truth, it moves all of creation to bring it into form. The world is not happening by chance, it is happening by design. Your design. Your inner world is the blueprint, and imagination is the architect. You do not need to know how your dream will manifest. That is not your concern. Your only task is to see it clearly, feel it deeply, and persist in that inner vision with confidence. You can imagine anything. There are no limits except the ones you believe. If you want wealth, see yourself already living in it. If you want love, feel yourself already embraced by it. If you want freedom, imagine the life where you already have it. Let your senses join the scene. Hear the sounds, smell the air, feel the emotions. Make it real, and your reality must follow. Do not underestimate what you do in the unseen. The outer world is slow to catch up, but it always does. That is the law. Imagination is not idle. It is not wishful thinking. It is the womb of creation. Each night, before sleep, you are given a brush and a blank canvas. Paint the life you want to live. Let your imagination be bold. Let it be clear. Let it be joyful. And then rest, knowing the masterpiece is already on its way. The feeling is the secret. Not the thought, not the words, not the effort, but the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the bridge between imagination and reality, between the unseen and the seen. And the most potent time to access this power is just before sleep, when your conscious mind relaxes and your subconscious becomes open and responsive. In that sacred twilight, you are no longer bound by the limitations of logic or external circumstances. You are free to assume the state of your desire, and in doing so, you plant the seed of its fulfillment. Wealth does not begin with a bank account. It begins with a feeling. The feeling of security, of freedom, of comfort. The feeling that you have more than enough, that you are taken care of, supported, and in complete alignment with abundance. If you wish to be wealthy, then you must feel wealthy. Not wish for it, not long for it, but know it to be true from within. There is a distinct difference between hoping for wealth and assuming its presence. Hope says, maybe one day, but knowing says, it is already mine. That inner knowing, that quiet certainty is what reshapes your world. When you lie in bed and close your eyes, do not review the day's troubles, do not replay fears or doubts. Instead, create the scene of your fulfilled desire. Feel the joy of it, the ease, the naturalness of already living in the state you wish to express. Make it real in your mind and let your body respond. How would you breathe if you were already wealthy? How would your body feel as it melted into the mattress, no longer burdened by stress or lack? Would you smile? Would your heart beat calmly with trust and peace? This is how you enter the state of the wish fulfilled. You do not analyze it, you feel it, gently, consistently, deeply. You let it become your dwelling place. This feeling becomes your prayer. And unlike words, which are often hollow, feeling is honest. It speaks directly to the subconscious, and the subconscious listens. It listens and it obeys, because it only ever reflects what you assume to be true. If you persist in feeling poor, anxious, or undeserving, your world will echo that back to you. But if you shift inwardly, even just a little, and begin to feel as though you already are the version of yourself that you desire to be, the world cannot help but change in response. So each night, make this your sacred practice. Let go of the outer world and return to the inner. Enter that silent space where only you and your imagination exist. And there, dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Imagine your home, your lifestyle, your relationships, your freedom. Let the joy of it rise within you. Not forced joy, but the kind that comes from knowing you are already there. You may not yet see the wealth with your eyes, but do not let that concern you. What you see is only a delayed reflection of what you felt yesterday. Focus now on what you wish to feel tomorrow. The world is always becoming what you feel yourself to be. So choose the feeling you desire. Make it your companion. Let it wrap around you like a warm blanket as you drift off to sleep. And when you wake, something will have shifted. You may not be able to name it, but you will feel it. A new calm, a new confidence, a sense that something unseen has been set in motion. And indeed it has. The seed has been planted, the blueprint drawn. Now all that remains is to remain faithful to the feeling. Do not return to doubt. Return to the knowing. The knowing that you already are what you have imagined. The knowing that feeling precedes form. The knowing that wealth is not coming. It is already yours, and your world is simply catching up. Assumption is the doorway through which the invisible becomes visible. To assume the end is to live in the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. Not someday, not later, but now. You must learn to bypass the logical mind, which constantly asks how, and instead move into the stillness of knowing, where the end result already exists. This is the way creation works. Not through force or struggle, but through the assumption of already being. The world teaches you to plan, to strategize, to figure things out step by step. But manifestation does not require your mind to micromanage the process. In fact, the more you try to control the how, the more resistance you create. Your job is not to worry about the details. Your only task is to dwell in the end result, as if it were already true. You must feel it, believe it, surrender to it. If you want wealth, do not concern yourself with how the money will arrive. Do not count the sources or calculate the ways. All of that is outside your domain. Instead, go within and assume the end. What does it feel like to already have what you desire? To already be living in the lifestyle you once longed for? To already have the freedom, the peace, the opportunities, the choices that abundance brings? That is your work. To feel that state so deeply, so naturally, that the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The mind will try to interfere. It will say, but I don't see it yet. Or, this doesn't make sense. Or, what if it doesn't happen? Let those thoughts pass like clouds in the sky. Do not dwell on them. Return again and again to the state of the end. Assume it. Own it. Know it. The outer world is slow to respond, but it must respond. It has no choice. Reality is always catching up with your assumption. When you assume the end, you shift your identity. You are no longer someone waiting or hoping, you become the person who already has it. This is the secret. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are. So if you want wealth, become wealth in feeling. If you want love, become love in being. If you want success, live from the state of already being successful. Let your actions, your tone, your posture, your energy reflect that new version of you. And do this especially in the quiet moments, before sleep, upon waking, during moments of stillness. These are the times when your assumptions sink deepest. In those moments, see the end clearly, feel it fully, rest in it, as though there were nothing more to do. You are not imagining to get it. You are imagining because you already have it. To assume the end is to walk by faith, not by sight. It is to choose conviction over circumstances. Your senses may show you lack, your bank account may show you limits. But you are not moved by these shadows. You are moved only by what you accept as true within. And if you persist in assuming the end, even when all outer evidence contradicts it, you will see the world rearrange itself in perfect alignment. This is not theory. This is law. The inner state precedes the outer experience. So let go of the need to know how. Let go of the timelines, the strategies, the doubts, and assume it is done. Walk, talk, feel, and live from that end. And the bridge of incidents will unfold. Doors will open. People will appear. Events will conspire in ways you never imagined. The how is not your concern. Creation is complete. Your only job is to believe it's already done and remain loyal to that end. Stay there no matter what. The rest will follow. It always does. Repetition is the language of the subconscious. It is not persuaded by logic, debate, or even desire. It is moved by consistent feeling, persistent imagery, and quiet conviction. Every night, as the conscious mind loosens its grip and the world begins to fade, you are offered an open gate, a sacred opportunity to impress your subconscious with what you wish to create. In this moment, your mind is most fertile. What you repeatedly think and feel just before sleep becomes the seed of your future experience. It is not the passing thought during the day that transforms your life. It is the deeply felt idea that you carry into sleep. It is the assumption you make over and over, night after night, until it becomes so natural that the subconscious accepts it as truth. And once accepted, the outer world begins to bend to it. It is law. Your outer world is nothing more than the harvest of inner repetition. If you wish to change your life, do not underestimate the power of the final 5 minutes before you drift into unconsciousness. In those few quiet minutes, the gate is wide open. The guard of logic is drowsy and your inner world is malleable, receptive, alive. This is not the time to worry, fear, or replay what went wrong. This is the time to gently, lovingly, repeatedly feel the state you desire to live in. Whatever you impress consistently upon the subconscious, it will express. It may not happen instantly, but it will come. Just as a seed planted in soil does not bloom overnight, your thoughts must be nurtured with repetition. One night of imagining is not enough. If you return to doubt the next day, you must persist. You must feel it, see it, and know it to be true again and again, until it becomes a part of you. Think of a sculptor shaping clay. It is not one touch that forms the masterpiece, but many. Stroke by stroke, repetition by repetition, The vision within becomes the form without. Your imagination works the same way. When you imagine something nightly, when you allow the same feeling to rise, the same scene to unfold, it begins to solidify. The subconscious receives it, believes it, and reflects it in your reality. This is why so many remain stuck in cycles they do not want, because they are unknowingly repeating the wrong images before sleep. They go to bed in a state of fear, lack, or frustration and wonder why the next day mirrors the same energy. But change the nightly story, and you change the waking experience. Shift the repetition, and the reality must follow. Do not worry if you cannot visualize every detail. What matters is the feeling. Feel the peace of abundance. Feel the joy of fulfillment. Feel the security of being supported, chosen, successful, free. Let these feelings become familiar, like a favorite song played on repeat. The more you return to them, the deeper they go. Let your nightly routine become a sacred ritual. Lie still, breathe deeply, and turn inward. Imagine the end result of your desire, not vaguely but clearly. See yourself already in possession of it. Hear the conversations you would hear. Feel the satisfaction, the relief, the pride. And most importantly, do this not just once, but night after night. Let it become a gentle obsession, not of desperation, but of knowing. Soon, the repetition will no longer feel like effort. It will become natural. You will begin to believe without trying. And that is when the subconscious accepts the suggestion. That is when it takes over and begins to move circumstances, people, and events to match what you have planted. The world outside has no choice but to conform to the world within. Every night, the gate opens. You are the sower. Choose the seeds wisely. Repeat the desired feeling until it becomes truth to you. And watch as your life blooms in its image. And so we come to the end of this sacred reminder. A return to truth. A reawakening of the power that has always been within you. You now understand that wealth is not something you chase, but something you embody. It is a state of being, born from imagination, nurtured through feeling, and brought to life through repetition. Your outer world is not a cause, it is an effect. The root lies within you, in what you dare to assume, in what you feel to be true, in what you persist in night after night. Every evening as the world quiets and your eyes grow heavy, the gate to creation opens. You have been gifted this doorway to the subconscious. Use it wisely before sleep, dwell in the end. Feel the wish fulfilled. Become the version of yourself that already lives in abundance. Do not concern yourself with how. It is already done. Believe that it is. Know that it is. Rest in that truth. Let the repetition of these inner visions create the life you desire. Let your imagination be your sanctuary, your workshop, your world. For what you continually accept within must one day be expressed without. Thank you for listening. Thank you for trusting in the unseen, for daring to believe in the power that shapes all things. May your nights be filled with vision, your heart with peace, and your life with the evidence of what you have already claimed in spirit. Now go and assume it is done, knowing it is already done. Just as the seed does not panic in the soil, neither do you panic in the unseen. It is finished. I receive it now, not tomorrow, not next month. Now, because the only time is now, and the only place is within. Say these words while feeling them. That is the only condition. If you speak with doubt, you delay the promise. If you speak with certainty, you collapse time. Do not explain. Do not justify. Do not question. Just declare. These words are keys. They unlock what you call impossible, because the moment you say them with faith, the universe moves. You will see the signs. You will receive the message. You will feel the shift. Not because you hoped, but because you knew. Let no one talk you out of it. Let no appearance distract you. Let no delay deceive you. Say it again. It is already mine. It is finished. I receive it now. And watch. In one day, it will be done. Every word you speak carries a vibration, a pattern, a command. It may seem like a fleeting sound, quickly vanishing into the air, but its impact is eternal. Words are not just sounds you release. They are seeds you sow, and the field they fall upon is the infinite, fertile ground of your subconscious mind. When you speak, you are not merely communicating with others, you are instructing reality. Each word holds within it the blueprint of an outcome. The moment it is spoken, with belief, it is planted in the unseen and begins its silent, inevitable growth. Now consider this. If you speak with frustration, with defeat, with fear, those words do not simply express how you feel. They begin to form the world you will soon inhabit. You are not reporting your experience, you are predicting it. You are not describing the world, you are creating it. Just as a seed contains a tree in potential, so too does a word contain a reality in potential. Say, I'm always broke, and that is the crop that will rise in your life. Say, nothing ever works out for me, and watch life bring forth every event needed to confirm your declaration. Not because life is cruel, but because it is obedient. Because the subconscious mind does not judge what you plant, it simply brings it to life. If you were to shift, if you were to begin to speak, not from the echo of your past, but from the vision of your desire, everything would change. A new harvest would begin. Speak words of love, and love begins to return. Speak words of abundance, and abundance takes root. Speak words of peace, and your world bends toward calm. There's no magic. This is law. And it is always working, whether you are aware of it or not. You are always planting. The question is, what are you planting? You may walk through the garden of your life today and see disappointment, lack, and confusion. But understand this, those are yesterday's seeds made visible. Do not curse the garden for producing what you unknowingly planted. Instead, bless it for revealing what was hidden, and begin again. This time, with intention. When a farmer sows seed, he does not do so randomly. He selects the seed carefully, knowing that what he puts in the ground will determine what comes out. He tends the soil, waters it daily, and protects it from harm. He never doubts that the seed will grow. He does not dig it up to check. He trusts the process. He knows the harvest must come because he has planted in faith. So must you treat your words. Choose them with care, speak them with conviction, repeat them with joy, and protect them from the weeds of doubt and fear. Every time you say, I am powerful, you water a seed of strength. Every time you say, I am blessed, you nourish a future filled with divine alignment. Every time you say, things always work in my favor, you are laying the bricks of a reality that must rise to match your declaration. It does not matter what the outer world looks like. The soil does not care if the sun is shining or the clouds are overhead. The soil only responds to what has been planted. So too does your life respond to what you consistently say. Speak as if your words are sacred tools, because they are. Speak as though the universe is listening, because it is. Speak not from your history, but from your vision, because the past cannot produce anything new, but your words can. You are your life is the field, and your words are the seeds. Be intentional, be aware, and most of all, believe. Because once spoken with faith, your words must become flesh. There is a secret embedded in creation, one that the world often overlooks. Words alone are not enough. Words are the seed, but feeling is the fertile soil in which the seed must fall. Without feeling, your words are like seeds thrown on concrete. They may be powerful in potential, but they cannot take root. They cannot grow. They cannot become. To speak without emotion is to recite, to repeat, to echo, but not to create. The true creative power lies not just in what you say, but in how deeply you feel it as true. You must embody the energy of your words. You must live inside them emotionally before you ever see them physically. The universe does not respond to empty phrases. It responds to the energy behind those phrases. When you declare, "I am wealthy but feel poor," the energy contradicts the language. When you say, "I am loved but feel lonely," your subconscious is confused, divided, and it is the feeling that always wins. The subconscious does not respond to surface words. It responds to your inner state. That is the language of the infinite. When you speak as if something is already done, and you feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude of that truth, something shifts. The outer world may not yet reflect the change, but inside you, a seed has been planted in rich, living soil. And that feeling, that inner movement, is the sign that manifestation is already underway. It is not about pretending, it is about assuming. You assume the state of the wish fulfilled. You speak not from hope or desire, but from fulfillment. You say, "Thank you," not because you are wishing to receive, but because you know you already have. Gratitude is the feeling of having. And the moment you truly feel you have, you activate the law of creation. This is why some people repeat affirmations for months with no result. They say the right words but feel lack. They speak about abundance but carry fear. They affirm love but feel unworthy. And so the words remain lifeless, like seeds stored in a drawer, never touching the soil of belief. But when you begin to speak with emotion, when your voice carries the vibration of truth, your words are no longer weak. They become alive. They move mountains. They dissolve resistance. They begin attracting to you the people, situations, and events that match the feeling you now embody. This is why conviction matters. Conviction is not loudness or force. It is inner certainty. When you declare something with the knowing that it already is, life must rearrange itself to reflect that knowing. What you feel deeply and consistently becomes impressed upon the subconscious mind, and the subconscious governs everything. It does not argue. It does not reason. It accepts. So, if you wish to change your life, change how you feel when you speak. Don't just say, "I am healthy." Feel the strength in your body as you say it. Don't just say, "I am successful." Feel the calm satisfaction of having already achieved it. Don't just say, "I am free." Feel the lightness, the joy, the ease. The stronger the feeling, the faster the manifestation. Feeling is not secondary, it is central. It is the life force behind your word. It is the divine spark that causes the invisible to become visible. So, the next time you speak, pause for a moment, breathe, close your eyes if you must, and feel it. Let the words rise from the core of your being, not just your lips. Speak not from emptiness, but from fullness, from the deep inner place where what you desire is already real. When you do this, when word and feeling become one, you become unstoppable. Because then and only then do your words take root. And once they do, they grow with divine speed. The only time that truly exists is now. The past is memory. The future is imagination. Yet most people speak and think as if they live in some distant one day, and so their desires remain trapped in that illusion of delay. The creative power of the mind does not operate in the future. It operates in the now. That is why present tense thinking and speaking is not just important, it is everything. When you say, I will have, you have already pushed your desire out of reach. I will be successful. I will find love. I will be healed. These statements sound positive, but they are declarations of absence. You are confirming that right now you do not have, you do not experience, and you are still waiting. And as long as you wait, you delay, because your subconscious mind does not understand the future. It only responds to what is felt and believed in this moment. To say, I now have, is to pull the future into the present. It is to embody the end result. You are no longer hoping, wishing, or waiting, you are claiming. And what you claim as yours, with inner conviction, must begin to take form. This is the power of speaking in the present tense. It is not just grammar, it is creation. Your words shape your internal reality, and your internal reality molds the outer world. When you consistently say, I am, rather than I will be, you tell your subconscious, this is who I am now, and the subconscious must act accordingly. It begins shifting your perceptions, your behaviors, your energy, and even the people and situations around you, all to align with what you have accepted as true in the present. You see, to manifest is to occupy a state of being. It's not about chasing after things, it's about assuming you already are the person who has them. That is the secret. You don't become wealthy by saying, I will be rich someday. You become wealthy by saying, I am rich now. And feeling the reality of that will so deeply that your entire being conforms to it, brings it home. The more often you speak from the place of the fulfilled desire, the more naturally your life reorganizes to mirror that inner conviction. You become the cause, not the effect, the creator, not the victim, the origin, not the outcome. So let go of soon, let go of one day, let go of I hope to. These are the language of delay. Instead, speak in the now, live in the now, declare it now, because now is all you have, and it's also all you need. The present moment is where creation happens. It is the point of power. And the more fully you stand in it, the faster your desires become real. Because once you believe it is already done, the world has no choice but to catch up. The mind is shaped not by what you hear once, but by what you hear repeatedly. Repetition is the chisel that carves new identity into the subconscious. It is not simply the act of saying something over and over. It is the consistent return to a chosen truth until it is no longer questioned. And once that truth takes root, reality begins to obey it. What you repeat becomes impressed. Just as water shapes rock through continual flow, your words shape the landscape of your inner world through continual declaration. The subconscious mind is always listening, always receiving, and always accepting what is said with emotion and persistence. It does not argue. It does not reason. It simply says yes to whatever is repeated with feeling. If you repeat lack, lack becomes your experience. If you repeat fear, fear begins to govern your world. But if you repeat love, abundance, success, wholeness, those states begin to dominate. Not because you force them into existence, but because you impress them deeply enough that the subconscious began to express them effortlessly. You see, the first time you say, I am powerful, your conscious mind may resist. You may feel like you're lying. You may feel doubt or conflict. But if you say it again and again and again, while breathing, while relaxing, while imagining it as true, the resistance begins to dissolve. The statement becomes less foreign, less strange, and eventually it begins to feel natural. That shift, that sacred moment when the affirmation no longer feels like a wish, but like a fact, is the moment manifestation begins. This is why you must be persistent, not frantic, not forceful, but faithful, steady, calm, like a sculptor returning each day to the same block of marble, trusting that each touch reveals more of the form within. Every repetition is a movement deeper. Every word spoken again is a step closer to embodiment. Do not be discouraged if nothing appears to happen at first. Repetition works beneath the surface. You are rewiring pathways, shifting patterns, building a new self-concept. And once your subconscious accepts a new truth, life adjusts to fit it. Not by magic, but by law. The law of consciousness, the law of assumption, the law of identity. And this is the sacred reason repetition matters, because your outer life cannot exceed the boundaries of your inner belief. You cannot live above the truth you hold inside. So if you wish to rise, you must elevate what you repeat. Speak only what you want to see. Declare only what you choose to become. And do it again and again until you no longer need to remind yourself, because it will have become who you are. The mind learns by rhythm, the body responds to pattern, the spirit awakens through remembrance. So remember who you are daily. Return to your truth hourly. Whisper it in silence, declare it in stillness, speak it before sleep, affirm it upon waking, and do not grow weary, for the harvest is certain. You are reprogramming the most powerful creative force in existence, your imagination, your belief, your identity. Do not underestimate the quiet power of repetition. It has built empires. It has changed lives. It has transformed ordinary minds into channels of the divine. One thought, returned to consistently, can rebuild a lifetime. One phrase, spoken with conviction each day, can shift the course of your destiny. So speak what you choose to be, and keep speaking it until the world has no choice but to echo your inner truth. Because what you repeat becomes impressed, and what is impressed must be expressed. The greatest battle is not with the world outside of you. It is with the story you keep telling yourself, the one you repeat in your mind, in your conversations, in your inner dialogue. That story becomes your life. And if you want to change your life, you must silence the old and boldly declare the new. Stop rehearsing the old story. Stop justifying your limitations, explaining your pain, or repeating what went wrong. Every time you speak of what hurt you, what failed, what they did, what you lost, or why it's difficult, You breathe new life into a reality you are trying to leave behind. The old story cannot go if you keep inviting it. Let it be silent. Not because it didn't happen, but because it no longer defines you. You do not grow by analyzing what went wrong. You grow by announcing what is now right. You do not heal by circling the wound. You heal by imagining the wholeness. The more you entertain the old identity, the more you remain bound by it. So stop giving it your voice. Stop explaining it. Stop defending it. Silence it. And then declare the new. Declare it not as a hope, not as a wish, but as an unshakable truth. Speak it as though it were already real. Say, I am chosen. Say, I am successful. Say, I walk in abundance. Speak it with no hesitation, no apology, no explanation. You are not here to argue with the facts of the old life. You are here to create the truth of the new one. And truth, when spoken with authority, rearranges reality. Do not argue with your current conditions. They are not permanent. They are only echoes of your previous beliefs. Do not plead with them. Do not resist them. Acknowledge them if you must, but then rise above them. Speak as if the new world is already here, because in the realm of consciousness, it is. You must learn to speak as the person you are becoming, not as the one you have been. This is not pretending, it is creating. The power is not in what you see, but in what you declare. Every word you speak is a mold into which life must pour itself. So choose your words as if they are law, because they are. Your word is law in your world. You are not a reporter of life. You are not here to describe what is. You are here to decide what will be. The moment you stop repeating the old narrative and begin to claim the new one, your mind begins to shift. Your body begins to respond, and the world begins to align. You do not have to explain how it will happen. You only have to believe that it is. Your authority comes from your imagination. Your power lies in your ability to feel the unseen and speak it as reality. This is how mountains move. This is how timelines shift. This is how the impossible becomes the inevitable. So silence the old, let it fall away without a fight. You owe no loyalty to the version of yourself that was surviving. You are not here to maintain the familiar. You are here to manifest the divine. Declare what is true for you now. Declare it daily. Declare it boldly. Declare it until the world forgets the old you ever existed. There is only one voice that must be heard. Yours. The voice that does not tremble, that does not beg, that does not delay. The voice that commands, that claims, that creates. That voice is yours. And when you speak the new story, when you hold it like a sword in the face of doubt, when you refuse to retreat into what was, everything begins to change. Not someday, but now. Because nothing is more powerful than a mind that has decided. The old is over, and the new is already here. There are words that do more than inspire, words that do more than comfort. There are words that carry creative authority, powerful phrases that, when spoken with certainty, reconfigure the unseen world to reflect your inner command. These are not idle affirmations. They are not mere hopeful phrases. They are spiritual decrees, spoken not to beg, but to create. When you speak these words with belief, with presence, with the full weight of your inner conviction, they do not float aimlessly into the void. They land. They take root, and they go to work, unseen, rearranging the conditions of your life, in silence and in speed. These words act like spiritual blueprints. What you declare with authority, the invisible world begins to build. You must understand that the universe does not respond to your pleas. It responds to your assumptions. It does not obey fear or indecision. It obeys inner authority. That authority is not granted by anyone outside of you. It comes from within, and it is activated through your voice, through what you say and how you say it. There are phrases that ignite change immediately when spoken with faith. Phrases like, "It is done," "I now have," "I am." These are not simple statements, they are doorways. Each time you speak them with feeling, you step into a new identity. And when your identity shifts, everything around you must follow. The world always mirrors the state you live from, not the one you wish for, but the one you claim. When you say, "It is done," you are not hoping. It will be done. You are not doubting, it might be done. You are commanding, it is done. This is the language of creation. It leaves no room for hesitation, no space for the old story to linger. It declares the end from the beginning, and it trusts that life will rise to meet the declaration. Words are not weak. Words are not just sounds in the air. They are vibrations that match the frequency of what you call into being. If you say, "I am loved," the universe must deliver experiences that reflect love. If you say, "I am successful," even when the outer world looks barren, life begins working behind the curtain to fulfill that inner command. The truth is, most people are speaking words that disempower them. They say, "I can't," "I don't know how," "maybe one day." These are not just statements, they are creative orders. Spoken often enough, they become law in the world of the speaker. So if you are going to use your voice, and you always are, use it to build what you want. Train yourself to speak with deliberate power. Do not allow casual language to sabotage your vision. Speak as a master. Speak as a creator. Declare your day before it begins. Declare your abundance before you see it. Declare your healing before it manifests. These are not lies, they are acts of faith. And faith is the evidence of things not seen. The most powerful words are not spoken with force. They are spoken with knowing, with peace, with stillness. You do not need to shout. You do not need to convince anyone. When you know it within, your words carry that silent certainty, and the world obeys certainty. So speak only what you wish to see. Speak it often, speak it boldly, speak it quietly if you must, but speak it with belief. And then let go of the how. Let the words do their work. Let them echo into the unseen. Gather what you have called for and return it to you in divine timing. Not because you hoped, but because you knew. There are words that create. Find them, live them, speak them, and watch as your world bends to meet the reality your voice has claimed. When you begin to understand the true power of your world, you will no longer speak carelessly. You will no longer speak from fear, from doubt, or from lack. You will speak with clarity, with faith, and with knowing. Every word you utter becomes a thread in the fabric of your future. Every phrase you declare becomes a seed that grows into form. You have been given the power to create, not by force, but by focus, not by striving, but by speaking. Say only what you desire to see. Feel it is done. Speak it in the present. Repeat it until it becomes your truth. Silence the old story and declare the new. And above all, remember, the words you speak with belief are not hopes. They are laws to the unseen. Now go. Speak as the one who knows it is already theirs. Because it is. Thank you.